This is going to be our New Year's project. So we're going to take the digits for the year and we're going to illustrate them in a way that's similar to how Google does when there's special occasions. And you'll notice in their illustrations, they illustrate not only the letters, but they also do the background in most cases. And that's what we're going to be doing. So for my students, I've actually photocopied the numbers for the year 2020, and I've photocopied them onto 11 by 17 paper. Now, you can use this as either your sketch or your final paper. It's good drawing paper. Or you can be a little extra and kind of do your own 2020 and just use mine as a sketch. So, this might be more interesting. If you want to do something that shows off, some skills that you have, you're welcome to do that. But we need the digits there for the year. So I'm going to use this one as our example. What you're going to first need to do is figure out, how do you break down the year? What is it that you did? So I would actually encourage you to look through your cell phone photos. See the things that you did throughout the year and things that maybe you didn't do because of what's going on during the year. So I want this to be a balanced project. You need to show about equal amounts of good and bad kinds of things. I want the illustrations to kind of represent things that happen to you personally, things that happen maybe in your community or your state, maybe in the country, and then even globally. So to connect with as many ways as you can with the year for the experience of all of us kind of living through the year that we're illustrating, which happens to be 2020. So here's an image of my first drawing. And you can see that I've incorporated lots of things that happened through the year. Some of them are definitely personal. So like in the bottom corner, I have a loaf of bread. And that was something I learned how to do in 2020 during the pandemic. Inside the O is Breonna Taylor, who was in the news a lot. And I wanted to incorporate her because I thought there was some powerful messaging that was involved in that. And one way you can actually trace an image is by drawing black all over the back of it with a regular pencil. And then you turn it over, place it where it is that you want the image to go. Make sure it lines up. You can even hold it up to a light to make sure. And then when you press hard on the image, the lines will transfer through to the thing that you're drawing on. So that's a fun little trick that you can do if you want to print out a photo or print out an image and you just want to trace it on there. You can do that. And the nice thing is, because you're using regular pencil, it's easy to erase if you make a mistake or you want to reposition it or something, or if you want to repeat it. Let's say you want to have a repeating pattern in the background. That might be good. Another thing you can see in my illustration is that I've got a Twitter bird, and instead of putting words in there, I put some little symbols coming out of the bird's mouth, because Twitter has certainly been in the news this year. People tweeting things that were helpful, but things that were also rather hateful. So that was part of the year. In the first zero, you could see that I have some of the coronavirus and some gravestones to represent people who had passed away. I also have an ocean scene in the first two, because we weren't able to travel the way we wanted to. I was able to go to the ocean with my spouse, and we spent a lot of time watching sunrises, sunsets, and just relaxing, and it was a really fun time. Behind the two is also the symbol for YouTube, because my channel got monetized this year, so that was kind of exciting. So that was a positive. I have some tomatoes that I think I'm going to add into the background to represent some of my gardening that I did. There's seashells on the bottom, which also represent that trip to the ocean. And I have the lighthouse there too, because we visited a lot of lighthouses while we were on vacation, and that was kind of neat. The car and the other number two is kind of representing how we drove everywhere. We didn't fly this year. So sometimes it was, going to, places we hadn't been. Sometimes we just go for car rides and be like, well, we've never been south. Let's drive south for an hour and see where we end up. So that was kind of fun and peaceful. So it was a different kind of a year. So I want to make sure that you're including both positive and negative attributes. Make sure you're making personal connections and then connections to the community or society or even the globe. So for the personal in mind, here's my finished image. We have the loaf of bread to represent how I learned how to bake. my trip to the ocean. The Twitter and the YouTube thing is more community-based, and Breonna Taylor is also United States-based. And then we have the coronavirus, which is more international. So I've hit all of those different marks. The other thing you can notice in my image is that I really did take my time to color in everything neatly. The process that we're using for illustration is to first draw in pencil, then draw in pen. You want to erase out the original pencil, and then we're coloring in and then layering our colors, and if you can, to add some shadows. That would show me a complete project. And I'll put a link at the end of this video to the, I call it the Am I Done video, which takes you through the whole process of my expectations in coloring and drawing and an illustration kind of project. So you can work on some sketch ideas, some scrap paper at first with the year on it and kind of bubble letters. I would avoid using words and try to stick to illustrations of symbols or pictures. Let's stay away from words. We already have the 2020 digits. Keep this as artful as possible. Layer things, have things behind, things in front, and have some fun with this to show off what this year meant for you.